Hey Jeff, welcome. I don't think Mr. Wabbit is here. He came by very early this morning, and I think he went away after that. So, looks like for the now anyway, it's just you and me. I don't see anybody else here. Of course, I got so much stuff up on the Chromebook screen right now, I can't see half of what's going on. So, let's turn the synths down a little bit more, or try to. Remember to turn them up later. And I got the speakers turned off tonight. I always forget to do that. So anyway, here we are. It's another Monday night. Time for music and chatter and all that kind of stuff. It's another night where I have a lot of show notes put together, a whole bunch of stuff. So we'll talk for a while. You and me, Jeff. And like I said, I don't think anybody else is here at the moment. So just so you know, Jeff, I'm playing with the, what is that thing? That chat thing, overlay thing tonight. And it's a little bit out of kilter, but I still don't have a way to make it do the whole screen. But that's one of the things we'll be talking about tonight. And what my plans are for that. Mic seems hot tonight too, but looks like from the meters I'm actually pretty low. So let's adjust all that stuff. It should be all right. Okay. Anyway, Social Ninja, yes, that's it. That is the thing. And by and large, it's pretty cool. Because I'm not using it the way, and I'm going out of order, but because I'm not, actually I didn't even put that in there, because I'm not doing things in the normal manner for Social Ninja anyway, it makes things a little trickier. Social Ninja is very definitely intended for use with OBS, and as you know, that's not my gig. But anyway, I think I have some ideas on ways to make it work for me in the long run. So anyway, we'll get to that. Going to talk about video stuff. We're going to talk about some software stuff, and really that's kind of it. So let's get into the music stuff. First off, what was in the jam tonight? Let me grab some buttons here and do this, and we can go over what's in the jam. So take that up there. That actually looks a little better with the overlay. We'll see how that goes. It was kind of annoying having to take it out all the time for the other one. Let me pop this up full screen so I can see what I'm talking about, and we'll start with I'll just go a little bit at a time here. So we got this thing here. Actually, before I get into that, let me get into this. Stand by. So as you know, I bought the upgrade to Complete Native Instruments Complete, and that came with, of course, with Kontakt 8 and a bunch of other stuff. And so I've been playing around with that a lot and finding some things I really like with it. And so the short of it is that all of tonight's backtracks, with the exceptions of the drums, are coming out of Kontakt. 4 instances of Kontakt. So go back to take a look at what those are, and let's see here. Okay, we'll see what those things are all about here. And let's see, put this back up where I can see it. All right, so first track is going to be this guy, and I'm going to go out of order in tracks, though, on purpose, and you'll see why in a minute. So Soloing really does solo. So anyway, first track is this guy here. Get her selected. And this is a Kontakt instrument called Saffron. And it's really great for cinematic and kind of that kind of stuff. Wabbit, hey, welcome. You are here. Yay. It's really great for cinematic stuff, lots of pads and all that kind of stuff. Just really big, great flowing things. So that's on track 1. I have another instance of that going over here, or audio track 1 anyway. My mics are on 1 and 2. I have another instance of that going over here, doing another sound, which is going to be, pull that up. It looks the same, the graphic looks the same. The difference being, and we'll get into the differences between these two versions of the track. You notice it does look a little bit different. This one's running inside Komplete Kontrol. The other was running natively in Kontakt. So another paddy thing. It is playing. Let's see. We'll go ahead and turn off this other stuff. So it's playing this thing. Just this sequence that comes in with a little high pitched bits every now and again. So that's adds a little sparkle and a little spice to the thing. And then we move into a Kontakt instrument, and this is a really interesting Kontakt instrument. And I'm going to take them out of order too. But this is a brand new Kontakt instrument for Kontakt 8 specifically, and it's this particular instance is running inside Komplete Kontrol, but I want to talk about this one first on purpose. So it's doing just this bass line. So this particular Kontakt instrument, it's called Porphyra, and it is the first. It's the first Kontakt instrument written specifically to take advantage of the new features of Kontakt, some of the new features of Kontakt 8. What I'm finding with this, and I'm using, these are just factory modified factory patches or presets that I'm using in it. But what I'm finding with this is some very interesting things about the new version of Kontakt, and that is that the new version of Kontakt is really, really deep. And I don't know if it's deeper, or if previous versions were not as deep, but I'm finding this in a well-designed Kontakt instrument, I'm finding it to be very, very easy to get around and find things, and do some neat things with it. And if you look at this, we'll take a look at this. I don't want to break this one too badly, but so let's pop up another instance of add a new track and pop up another instance of this real quick, so I can show you a little bit about it. The rest of the stuff on here was the Take 5 and the Polybrute doing new patches for tonight, and then some drums on a track. So we can skip ahead some to the discussion of what's going on in Native Instruments land and Kontakt. While I set this up, let's see, what are you guys looking at? Yeah, you're looking at the right thing. Okay, so I want to send that to, what am I doing here? MIDI 2, not MIDI 2. I need to get something loaded here first. Plugins. Kontakt is under Native Instruments. Kontakt 8. Just drop that in there. Outputs to sends only. Crank up the synth bus. There we go. Okay, so on the surface, this looks pretty much like Kontakt always looked. and the magic starts to get into some of the new instruments that they've put in here. I'm going to go ahead and go to this Porphyra instrument, and I'm just going to load the initial patch, which is really just playing. Actually, let me get this set up so it plays off the right keyboard. In from Kontrol S. There we go. So an initial patch, just a sine wave, or a couple of sine waves. So this is pretty much a oh, where are you? Let's make this go away. Or not. Actually, we'll take that out and we'll leave that guy go, just to give us something to play over and mess around with. So the neat thing about this is, or a thing about this is that this is a full synthesizer that these folks have developed inside of Kontakt, and you've got a wavetable side, another wavetable, a sample side, and all the things that you can do with those. You've got, depending on what you've got loaded up for the wavetable, some of these controls through here are different or enabled or disabled. Same with the sample player over here. There's a bunch of different stuff you can do. You've got 4 LFOs, actually 5, although the 5th is a little weird. 3 envelopes, a filter. And so it's a pretty standard 2 oscillator synth of sorts. Effects, you've got 4 effect slots, and then there's a few options you can set up. Things, what are your standard controllers going to do? And I will join the chat shortly, I promise. So, one of the things that I find interesting about this is that, or that I see in this, is that it is very similar in a lot of ways to the Arturia, some of the new Arturia Augmented synths, where you've got a sample-based instrument and a synth-type-based instrument, and you mix the two together to get a hybrid sound. That's exactly what this does. Now, I don't know, and I've seen that a lot too in a lot of other native instruments, Kontakt instruments, but not to this extent of control. So I think they've really stepped up the Kontakt game, which I think is really it's really kind of cool. I mean, I've always liked Kontakt. I just never really understood it. I could never really. I found some great instruments with it. I've got some great instruments for it. But I've never been able really to make my own, and I still don't think I'll necessarily be able to make my own. But one like this, one of the really unique things about this Kontakt instrument that I have never seen in a Kontakt instrument before is you can load your own wavetables and you can load your own samples, and that's something that I always wanted. Oh, you're pulling my Social Ninja stream into your OBS for testing. Okay, cool. Interesting. So a brief aside, real quick. Been reading about some of the stuff that you can theoretically do with Social Ninja, and we'll circle around to it, but I think that's got some great potential for us down the road for some other things. So anyway, back to this guy. Let's find a wavetable. So in the wavetable synth, you've got some choices. You can have a single cycle waveform, or you can have a wavetable or your user wavetable. So I'm going to go for, well, we'll just take a look at what all they've got. If you're in cycles, you've got all these different single cycles waveforms. I mean, there's a bunch of them in there. I haven't had any time to play through all of them, but I have played with a few of them. And then in the wavetables, there's a slew of wavetables that they provide too, that come with it. And these are all custom wavetables that were done just by the manufacturer. The link for this is in the show notes below. So if you want to take a look at this, this synth does not require the full Kontakt instrument you know, the full version of Kontakt to work either. It'll work in the player, in the free player. So you know, they've put all of this functionality into the free player version as well. So just, you know, they've really, like I said, they've really kicked it up a notch. So let's grab a I'll grab this. Grab a wavetable. It works in the normal wavetable manner. You know, you can scan through it. Let me zip over to that side, and we'll turn this guy down a little bit. And, you know, we can, my hands are backwards here. We can morph through, you can pan it, you can tune it, you can fine it, you can phase it. All the stuff that you can ordinarily do. You can do this width thing where you narrow it up in half of its, you know. And you can turn on inharmonic stretch and stuff like that. A couple things it doesn't do. Double clicking doesn't automatically take you back to 0. And it's a little twitchy getting back to 0 sometimes. Could be my mouse. So I'm not going to necessarily, and the fact that I don't have a proper mouse pad. So so I'm not going to blame it, but it's been twitchy it's even twitchier with a trackpad. There we go. And so you can modulate this. You can stereo widen it. All the things, you know. Spread that puppy out. Turn the stereo width up, you know, and you know, we can assign LFOs. Go into the LFO, tell it what you want it to be. I want this one to be. There is a limited number of destinations, I will say that, but you know, still a pretty fair amount. So in the wavetable, let's make that hit the. I will hit the morph with it, and you got a variety of waveforms for your LFO. You can time sync it and all that kind of stuff. So let's make it 2/1. Set the depth up. So now it'll. Did I send it to the right place? Yes, I did. So don't make a liar out of me now. Wavetable morph. Wave rate. Now let's make it a little faster so we can hear it. And we'll take that width back to full. So it does the thing, you know. Let's not make it quite so deep, not make it so fast. That's a little more pleasing. You know, so it does the standard things, you know. The oscillator does have its own basic filters. They're fixed frequency, but you can roll the high end off or roll the low end off. You can do some shaping. There's some a whole slew of shapers that are documented. I don't know what they all are, but you can see them, and you can see it modifying the wave as I move that. And I think you can. Yeah, you can modulate that too. So we could do something like that. We'll make that random at some rate to some depth. Need more speed. So Jeff, making your own wavetables is very tedious. It's either very tedious or it's not. And maybe if you watch that Starsky car video that I link every once in a while, he shows you how tedious it can indeed be. So that's it's a commitment if you want to make some wavetables, but it may very well be worth it. If you move over to the sample side of this, we'll flip over there. You've got a whole slew of different kinds of they've classified the waveform, the samples. Some of the stuff in Phenom is pretty cool, and of course, they're all not they're not the most descriptive names in the world, but but it's fun to paw through them and find out find ones that you like, and again, if you don't like anything, you can add your own sample. Let's do something more organic. The organic ones are actually sound like organs. So let's just grab one at random. Okay, we'll start with that. And you can do again all the things. You can see the start point of the sample, and randomize the start point. And if you get really depending on your sample, if you get really extreme about that randomization, that start randomization, you can get some pretty interesting things happening. This one's not all that exciting in that regard. See if I can find something that is maybe more interesting for that. Yeah, these are all just noises. Oh, okay, here we go. So you can kind of hear the result here of random start times. Well, why don't we use that for our B sound? And we will turn it down a bit. And then we can take the whole thing and run it, and some other things we'll do. Let's see. Let's make that one move left to right in time, so we can take this and move it to pan B and give it some depth. Make it happen fairly slowly. Make it move a little more. What the heck was that noise? All right. And then, of course, like I say, you've got envelopes on everything, so we can make this more pad-like. The times are all in milliseconds. Give it some release. Let's modulate the A-B mix. So as you can see, this is pretty simple, easy to use kind of thing, and it's so far we've made it. It's not the most fantastic instrument in the world or sound in the world, but we've made a sound pretty quick, and it's fantastic for texture stuff. It can also do basses and leads. I mean, it can do anything, and that's what's kind of really really cool about it. And at the moment, and so the disclaimer: I bought this with my own money. No one, they don't know that I'm talking about it. You know, all that stuff. So I can direct you to the link. The link to buy this this instrument for Kontakt is below, and it's on sale right now. The thing about this particular company is they were very prolific. Some things happened. They went away for a while, for a number of months, or maybe even a couple of years. I'm not sure the exact period of time. They are back. This is their first instrument coming back, and they came out guns blazing. Is all I have to say about that. Yeah, I'm not buying much. Well, so we'll talk about that. Yeah, I need to reduce. I'm trying to reduce spending or keep a little lean on spending myself. But so I've been very particular about things that I've bought lately. And I waffle. So as you know, I've been looking at. I mean, I've looked at a number of different things over the last few weeks, months. This is the first thing of all this stuff that I've looked at lately that I've bought as far as software instrument is concerned. I'm not really looking at any hardware instruments right now. Excuse me. I say I'm not looking at any hardware. No, I'm not looking at any hardware instruments right now. There's stuff I wouldn't mind having, but the shopping list for instruments is very slim, very short. So Wabbit is marking himself safe from Ableton tomorrow. You know, I'll watch that. I'm not sure. It's going to have to be a pretty special thing to get my interest. Because right now I'm really quite happy with the hardware setup here. There's no two ways around that. So, this is the last thing to look at. There's 4 effects sections in here. These all come from, these all are Native Instruments effects, but you don't need to have Native Instruments effects from Komplete, but you don't have to have Komplete to get these because those engines are built into Kontakt somewhere, I believe. So you've got 4 different effects sections. You've got your creative effects, modulation effects, delay effects, and reverbs. So if you look here, if you're familiar with what's in Komplete, you've got freak and fuzz and screamer and dirt and bite and all those things that are in there. We'll put bite on this one. What the heck? And actually, I think there's more controls in here than there is in the actual bite plugin. If it has built-in PTZ, all bets are off. So, of course it has built-in PTZ. Of course it does. I mean, why wouldn't it? It's a little bit much on the bite there. Let's bring that back. Make it a little crunchier. It's interesting. It comes in with everything turned almost everything turned all the way up. Toss out pigments. No, No, not apples to apples. This is more akin to those augmented instruments that Arturia has. Um, Pigments is I say that, but you know there may be a lot more under the hood in Kontakt that I just don't know about. You know, so I have lab, or I don't have the full, the full on V collection yet. Um, Let me turn my headphones are awful loud. All right, that's better. And that hiss you may hear in the background, I've got a little. It gets really warm in here, so I've got a fan going on me. So the I'm waiting on Analog Lab on the V collection as well. Typically they will do a sale at some point, and I'm waiting for it to go on sale again. At which point I will buy it because the math tells me that it will be cheaper to buy it. Even if I were to buy it today, there's 4 instruments in it that I want. They're $150 a piece. And since I've already got a whole bunch of other stuff, I get some discount. It's cheaper for me to buy analog, buy the V collection, than to buy the individual ones that I want. So might as well. And my guess, Jeff, is that if they do what they have done in the past, it will be Black Friday, or about that time. So this is not a. This is Kontakt may have the stuff under the hood that Pigments does, but it's not in a. It's not presented in a user friendly format. It's really designed to be. Kontakt is really designed for someone who wants to get under the hood and build an instrument. And so, in that regard, it's kind of like Reactor was, except instead of being a virtual synth, it's a sample. It's typically a sample based with a little bit of standard synthesis built in, but not the modeling kind of things that you can do, or virtual analog, or all of the crazy stuff that you can do in Reactor. So Pigments is Pigments has the sample side. It's got its it's got its Pigments has its sample side. It's got its wavetable side. It's got its granular side, and then it's got regular analog synth engines. So it's a different kind of instrument, I think. But if you actually look under the hood of the Arturia augmented synths, you'll see that it's kind of this same kind of structure. You've got an A side, the B side, and the A side in the augmenteds tends to be the sample, the pure sample, and the B side tends to be wavetables, or any number of other ways of making noise. And there's granular within those, and so this doesn't really go quite that far, at least not yet. And so I'm sure it will at some point, because there's a huge amount of power in Kontakt. That being said, let's see if we pop in here. I'm just going to throw a couple things on here. We'll finish this patch up, and then I'll probably delete it. But let's put chorus on there. How's that sound out of the box? Need to make it bigger on my screen. Let's, that's probably fine. throw some delay on there. It's got the full version of replicas in there. We go ahead and sync the time. Make it dotted eighths. Oh, that's what, yeah, make it dotted eighths. Going the wrong way. Okay, where are the dotted eighths? There we go. Make it a little less wet. No modulation, a little more feedback. And then we could stick a reverb on there. Their reverbs are okay. ROM is really nice. I do like that one. Make it airy and sparse. And let's make it diffuse and big. Not so wet. A little bit of modulation's good. Yeah, it'll work. And then I could go in here to the options and I can take and put aftertouch. For instance, I can send it to filter, to the cutoff, and we'll do it to resonance too. So and we'll take that, pick the wheel, pitch wheel, or the mod wheel. We'll stick that to layer, mix A, B. So now that'll fade between, crossfade between the two of them. So if we go back to main, I think it will show it on the screen. Yeah. Stuff like that. Nice. The Pigments interface. Yeah. So I will say this interface is, it's clear. It's very clear what's going on, but it's cluttered. And you know, there are some other caveats here. Let's see. So I'm going to look at my. I'll look at my notes for this, so I don't miss anything. Let's see. I did forgot to put the caveats on this. So one of the things about this, the unlike a lot of other software synths, Pigments, Vital, you know, pretty much a lot of things really. The modulation matrix, such as it is kind of thin. You know, you can't. A modulator can only have one destination. And so that's kind of a that's kind of a drawback. I don't know if that's a limitation of Kontakt, or if that's just a choice that they made with this instrument. That said, you know, there are some modulators. Let's jump back to this. There are some modulators within the individual engines. Like, you know, you've got a modulator for the wavetable that can be. I think it goes to the shaper, but you've got. You know, you've got modulation within this engine that's dedicated to this engine. Let's see, about macro modulation. Yeah, I also like to be doing, you know, sending modulations in a lot of different directions. You know, it's a thing for me, and I like modulating modulators with modulators. You know, and that comes, I think, you know, Jeff and you and I both think of, you are actively working in modular. I started in modular, and so I think that way. And so in modular you can put anything anywhere. So to me that's a drawback. But the other drawback is, as I said before in the past, I like multiple filters. I like having multiple filters available. I don't always want to use them, but I like having them. And so there's only one filter here. That said, it sounds great, comes with a bunch of amazingly good waveforms, and is on sale for 66 bucks and works in the free Kontakt player. So, not a bad deal. I think it's, but, so we're talking about not having, there's certain things that you can't modulate with the modulators. As when we looked at this list of LFO destinations, that's it. A/B mix, the volumes for each one, a combined volume for both, pitch of each one, pan of each one, filter cutoff. You can't modulate filter resonance, and then a half dozen of the wavetable controls. So your modulation is limited beyond that. And I wanted to do something in one of the other tracks here where I'm using it. Not bad. I wanted a custom modulation on this thing. So subsequently, I had to load an LFO in. I had to load an LFO out here, run that in through CC control because you can't map things to the regular mappings in Ableton. So I had to use custom CC controller, so to build this, and I can't even remember what I'm modulating. Maybe I ran out of modulators. There was something I wanted to do something, I couldn't do it, and so I had to use an external modulator to get it all done. But yeah, so if I wanted to modulate resonance, I'd have to use an LFO or whatever modulator I wanted out here, pipe that in through the CC control plug-in to talk to it. And so this particular track is doing some kind of crazy stuff. This particular instrument is kind of unique. Do I still have it turned on? Let me turn it on. Oops. So I'm using Stepic to as an arpeggiator. But the sound itself, and this is one that I will say this is one that I've made. I think. No, maybe not. I thought I made this one. Maybe I did. Anyway, what's going on here? Oh, let's choose the right track. I do have the right track. So on one side of this, it's kind of sort of chopped up and doing some choppy stuff anyway. As you can hear when it comes back around. Yeah, so I've got a sample and hold on the filter on that side. And then I took and added so it's kind of sort of arpeggiated. And then I arpeggiated the arpeggiator. Which was kind of a neat effect. I wanted this kind of quirky thing going on there. And that's how I had to do it. I couldn't do it all within within Porphyra itself. I probably could have done the whole deal within Pigments. In fact, I'm sure that I could have. So anyway, I don't think it was. I do like it. I do like it as an instrument. I'm not. I've got no complaints about spending the money on it. But it's got its place. It stays in its lane, and that's fine. it's great for textures and all that kind of moving stuff that I like to have in an ambient piece. So, you know, I think it's a good deal for that. The other synth that I showed you, and I showed you this thing, this this is another new one from this is a new one from Native Instruments, or new-ish. This came out a couple months before, or a few months before the Kontakt update to 15 did. So this shows their A/B kind of thing that they've been doing. I've got this one running directly in Kontakt, and that would let me, if I wanted to, with this, use those new tools that they've got, the chord and the phrases tools, which are kind of neat. I've actually been making use of them in another project that I'll probably hear next week or the next couple of weeks. But beyond that, it's not exactly editable. You know, it is what it is. You can choose the wave, the samples or waves that you're using, or the samples that you're using on either side, and you can blend between them in one or two different ways, and you can modulate. Other than that, it's limited to what the designers have put in there. So if you upgrade to Kontakt 15 or to Komplete 15, it comes with it. They're selling it for $29 or something like that. But you know, it was there when in the box. I would rather there have been other things in the box, but there it is. So the interesting thing here, and so this leads into the next thing that I was going to talk about. I see a lot of supposition on the YouTubes about you know, is Kontakt going to replace Komplete Kontrol, and or is it now the replacement for Komplete Kontrol? And you know, the short answer is no, because they work differently. They do different things at this point. Let me get myself out of the way here, and because I'm going to open up both of these copies of. I'll just do it with Saffron. So here we've got, on the left, we've got Saffron in Kontakt, and the right, we've got it in Komplete Kontrol. So in Kontakt, we can add those new tools if we want to, the chords and whatnot. We can stack up instruments easily, as many as we want. And we can split them across the keyboard and all that kind of stuff, or layers or all that kind of thing. So you can build a massive instrument within Kontakt. What you can't do in Kontakt, and it's something that you can do in Komplete Kontrol. In Komplete Kontrol, I can follow this instance of Saffron up with any number of effects, be them from Native Instruments or any other VST3 or VST2 effect that I've got on my system, as long as it's 64-bit. You know, so all these effects become available to me. You can't build a chain in Kontakt, or at least not that I've been able to figure out. So that's a thing that Kontakt doesn't do. When I go to add an instrument here in Kontakt, all I can add is Kontakt instruments. So if I pull up this, it'll open up the library, and you can see what I've got. You know, even though Pigments, for instance, is an NKS2 or an NKS compatible plugin, it's not available here. Whereas if I come over to here and I want to, I can add a second row of instruments in here, and I could add, if I drop this down and look at my instrument list, I can go here to Arturia. There's all my Arturia instruments. Here's all my Dawson instruments, all my device, you know, Stepping is there, although it wouldn't work. All my Korg stuff, everything. If it's a 64-bit VST, it's here, and I can, and for the most part, it'll work well. And this is how you bring a third-party instrument into the Native Instruments world, either through here or through Machina. Those are the two ways that you do it. So at this point, and again, you can build a chain and you can do layers and all that kind of stuff in here. So at least at this point, Kontakt is not complete enough to be complete control. Now, are they going to head that way? Who knows? You never do quite know with Native Instruments what's up their sleeves. You get hints now and again. Now things that you cannot do in Complete Control. In Complete Control I can't add these tools. I can't add the chord or the phrase tool. So I can't load up a Kontakt instrument and then have all of the Kontakt functionality. I can load Kontakt in Complete Control and do it that way. But if I load the Kontakt instrument directly, it doesn't go there. So anyway, that's it for that. I don't think I have any other notes on that. Let's see. No, that's it. That got through all of that. So, moving on. A little bit more in the Native Instruments world. There's been a couple of firmware updates to the Kontrol S. Let's see what we're looking at here. I didn't put. You've been looking at my screen. Okay, which is actually I was using, so that's fine. Let's do this. So there've been a couple of upgrades to this. Very welcome, both of them. And I saw in the accompanying posts that went along with this most recent upgrade, which came out a couple days ago, they are adding the one thing that I was missing so far in the updates. They are adding NRPNs to the control functions within here, at which point I will consider this, the Kontrol S, the new Kontrol S, to be complete. There's not a whole lot else it won't do for me that I need anyway. The few things that it doesn't do, well, like I say, I don't really need it to do anything else, but functions like if some point I need CV outs or anything like that, that's handled in the key lab. So this other upgrade is supposed to be coming within the coming months, and I know that it's coming. That's all I really care about. Makes me happy. So let's see. That means we're on to other things. So let's see. I love that sound. That's just that whole little trippy bit is. I'm looking at the Chromebook up here to make sure that the social stream hasn't dropped out like it did last time. It looks like it's working a little better, which is good. So let's see. Next up, how do I make this work? Okay, so next up, I've been talking about this for a few weeks now, both on the channel and on to folks in conversations elsewhere. But this social stream is kind of sort of part of this. The other thing is I want to do. I guess you've seen the couple of videos that I've thrown up with the kind of trippy video stuff. I want to add to at least to the live jam portions of the show, and when I do other videos and stuff like that, I want to be able to have that kind of visualizer thing going. I don't have enough inputs to really do that effectively without breaking a lot of things on the way the switcher's set up. I've tried to do a few. I've tried to do a few presets and things in the Stream Deck, and I end up screwing it up. And so, what I've decided that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and buy the bigger ATEM switcher. Yeah, more inputs because I'm not going to do OBS. I thought you know, I don't want another computer in here. That's part of it, and I don't want to run OBS on the music computer. I don't want all those eggs in that basket. As it is now, I have had an instance where computer went to heck, and I didn't have to drop the stream. You know, I could keep right on streaming while I rebooted the computer. So, and in fact, the way I've got things set up, I did not even lose mic audio while I was rebooting stuff. So, um, I definitely want to stay with the hardware side of things for video. So to that end, let's see if I can figure out how to make this work. Menu, media, still 6. So at some point in the, I do have to take the chat down to do this still. See, I won't have to do that once I change this. So I'll go to here and go to, yeah, see, I don't have all the buttons in the right place. Just downstream key source is going to be media pool. Okay. So, we'll have at some point in the coming weeks or week or two, we'll have this guy show up. This is the ATEM Mini Extreme. I'm not getting the ISO version. I don't think I really need that. But gets me 8 inputs, gets me multiple overlays and underlays and all that kind of stuff. So that's coming. I haven't placed the order for it yet. So with some of the stuff that I want to do, Jeff, one of the things that the ATEM Extreme will gets me 8 inputs, and the 8 inputs I can do. I can actually do 4 overlays plus 2 down. 4. I have 4 upstream keys and 2 downstream keys coming in this. So I could do, given enough stuff. When we do, say, the jams, if we've got 4 people on the jams, I could conceivably give all 4 of them their own box or 3 of them anyway, their own box, and do a 4 split within the switcher, and still have downstream keys. So I could still do overlays and stuff like that. So there's a reason that I want to add that puppy. I'm just kind of funny. Whoops. So see, this is what happens when I hit the wrong button. So this is what, so what you're looking at, I want to go ahead and show you. This is what I've got going on on the Chromebook just to keep the stream working. So there's that, that whole silliness going on. So that what that was showing, that had the actual, you have to have for the social stream, you have to have the actual YouTube chat popped out. You have to have the control panel up, and then you have to have a window that is showing the chat. I tried earlier today testing it with having the Chromebook push the chat portion to an external monitor, and so I could have control up on the Chromebook itself, and then the chat by itself. Because the idea was I was going to see if I could do 2 chats, and so I do 2 chats, and then I could have the actual chat plus features show up in the same window. I couldn't make it work, so I'll have that opportunity to do something like that with the new switcher. And yes, I know that in OBS I could do a window grab, a separate virtual window grab of each output from Social Stream, and put them on the screen the way I wanted to. But I just don't want to go there. But anyway, that's me being a stubborn old man. So so anyway, the next item then becomes, how am I going to handle what I'll call the trippy shit. And so I've been looking at um, at things for that, and you know um, the so Jeff is sending me stuff in Discord as well about this. So anyway, the trippy stuff. Um, I'm going to switch that to a hardware device as well. I don't. I have ups and downs with software stuff that I've been trying. None of it has been stable enough or ideal for what I want to do. So I've considered a bunch of different things. One thing I don't like about any of them is none of them support standard Winamp milk files for presets, which is kind of a bummer. There's actually not a whole lot out there that does do what I want to be able to do or meet the requirements that I have, which is an HDMI output that's HD. So many of the video synths are composite out because it's simple, or composite out only because it's simple. And you know, so I get that HDMI is tricky. Getting HDMI to work correctly, reliably is tricky, but you know, it's a thing that nest from a real computer is what I want. Yeah, so that means another PC in the room, you know. Um, and you know, it doesn't have to be the milk. It's just the milk. It surprises me though that nobody's using it. It's been around forever. There are literally tens of thousands of or files in milk repositories all over the place. Some of them are excellent. I mean, there's some amazing graphics, and they're scalable. You know, they scale from 640 by 480, the old VGA, up to 4K, and they look great. So you know, I don't get why it got abandoned. It doesn't make sense to me. So anyway, for the past, I guess, couple years, I've been looking at this, and I started out. You know, I liked the simplicity of the vibe of the Sleepy Circuits. What was that thing? What is that thing called? The Hypno. And the showstopper with it was for me was that it did not do full HD. Now it turns out that now Hypno does do full HD. He's up to the Pi 4, and so with the Pi 4, the Pi 4 does a better job of on its HDMI output of recognizing what it's plugged into and doing full HD. It's going to be scaled though, so it'll be scaled up from SD from 720 by 480. So it's not gonna. I don't know how great it's gonna look. There were some other things. There's even so there's a fair amount of confusion on the forums as whether or not it will actually work with an ATEM switcher or other black magic stuff. The Hypno, yes, the Hypno will still output NDI at any level. The thing is that then I would need an NDI to HDMI box, and they're not cheap. The other thing with that is, well, it would depend on the box. A lot of NDI stuff will just put out what it puts. Less expensive NDI devices will just put out what comes in. So if you know SD is what comes in, SD is what goes out. You get to pay more for scaling, and so at that point, you know, I might as well, you know, buy a thing that does all the things. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be nice to have an NDI input. I may do that at one point, but at some point, but um, not in the shopping list right now. But yes, and you know, we've discussed before. I love NDI. I think it's one of the greatest things since sliced bread. Even though it does have its caveats as well. Um, One thing another issue with the with Hypno is that are um, its audio inputs are Eurorack level, and I don't have any Eurorack level audio outs. Um, Entropy and Sons, the Recursion Studio is an amazing box. Um, it does 3 times as much as I want. So, but not, you know, like I said, I do really like the video output from the Recursion Studio. It's really nice, but the Recursion Studio does for one thing, for my budget anyway, it's too expensive. Um, really like the I mean, you know, it's a really nice box, but it's just too expensive, and it does a lot of things that I'm never going to need or want. Um, the video is beautiful from it. You know, I would love to see. Well, so there's things on it that I don't really need or want, because I don't want to be terribly hands on with the thing all the time. I really want to be able to set it up and let it do its thing. And I don't want. No, I don't need 8CV inputs, and I don't need a touch screen, honestly. So I would love to see a light version of the Recursion Studio um, that ran for around half the price, because that would put it in the price range with the Hypno. So that said, the as much as I like the Recursion Studio, it's going to be out, I think, as well, and more than likely what I'm looking at least for the moment, is going to be the Eyesy by Critter and Guitari, which would be, do this for those who haven't seen it. Be this guy, and it's got those really neat maple button tops too. So you know what can be bad about that? This is pretty simple, but it actually does a fair amount more than one would think from the 5 knobs, no display, blah blah blah. It beats a lot. It takes a lot of. Yeah, Mez is a neat idea, but it doesn't do anything on its own. It's really, Mez is a wireless MIDI controller, and that's really all it is. It fits in the palm of your hand and is well shaped, and it's got some. I mean, it's got some neat stuff going for it. And he's got an app that he's written that responds to it for visualization, and it's okay. I have it. I've played with it because it doesn't require to have Mez to actually work. So it's a nice visualizer. Anyway, back to this guy. This has got a lot going for it in that it's inexpensive. It's like $400. It meets my video requirements of a high definition HDMI output. Has audio and MIDI input and is reactive to both. Well, yes, it's reactive to both. Audio reactive for visuals, and it's also reactive in numerous ways to MIDI control. You can have MIDI control over scene and mode selections. You can control the knobs via MIDI. and it also times and reacts to MIDI clock and note data. So if you've got so your sequence, you know, I can sequence the thing with an Ableton Live, and I know you can do that with the to some extent with the Recursion Studio too, as well. You and maybe with Hypno, I don't know, but yeah, he does need a version to a Hypno. That the thing to realize though, Jeff, with all of these, with Hypno, with Recursion Studio, and with and with the Eyesy, we're running basically little computer. They are little Linux computers. They're all three of them are little Linux computers. Um, so they are running software on relatively inexpensive hardware. A Hypno is a Raspberry Pi 4 or a compute module. I'm not 100% sure what's inside the Critter and Guitari box, but it runs Linux. I know that. Um, and I'm going to bet, and the Recursion Studio has a Pi-like device in it, but it's one of the better ones. It's not a Pi, but it's got a better processor and it's a little hotter machine in there. But yes, it's Linux as well, and so they're all basically little computers. So what they're doing is running a visualizer on a PC, and they've just customized it, which is fine. I get that. Um, Hypno is always more fun than Recursion. Sure, yes, it's the Hypno. When I played with the Hypno at KnobCon a couple years ago, it was a ton of fun. And that was the one thing that really drew me to it until I got to it only did standard def output. And then learning that I want I want it to be audio reactive. I'd have to do some sort of line level conversion to boost it up enough to get my audio into it. It's a Pi on steroids with a GPU, which is I found out what process or what machine he's using in there. The form factor is identical to a Pi, right down to the 40-pin headers and the whole thing. You can drop a Pi hat on the thing and it'll work. It's one of those more powerful alternatives to the Pi. In the Recursion Studio. And as I said, I don't know what's inside the Eyesy, but there's some sort of little Linux box in there. It's probably a Raspberry Pi based thing. Those guys show up everywhere, and they're they're incredibly capable. And but the some of the fun things about the Eyesy is that, and I'll show you. It can do all the trippy output kind of stuff I want. I kind of dummied up a picture. It'll do that. It'll do that weird thing. That I was doing with the other thing. So it's it's a pretty going little box, and it's only $395 or something like that. So I'll probably order that in the next couple of weeks as well. So there's that. Let's see. The only downside to it that I can see is that it does not have an input for external video, which would have been nice. But that would have been nice to have been able to have internal video come in and mix it within the device. The Hypno can do that, and the Recursion Studio. I think the Recursion Studio can as well. I think you have to use one of those HDMI to UVC adapter things, which are $22, and I've got a couple. Um, the another thing about the Eyesy is you can do your own. You can roll your own modes and scenes for it pretty easily once you learn Python. And I've started to look at the way some of the programming is done for it. It's. I think even I might be able to figure it out. So, um, so there's that. And let's see. The last thing. This will pique Wabbit's interest. If he hasn't, if we haven't scared him down, if going down that rabbit hole, so to speak, hasn't scared him away. Let's see here. Take that. Oops. Take that back out. That was not what I wanted to do, but I did it. So there we go. Let's see. I need to go over here to here and to here and select that. And don't tell my wife. Now she'll find out when it shows up, when the box shows up. Actually, I might do this on Wednesday when I'm in New York. This next piece. Let's make sure I'm looking at the right thing. There we go. So, as I've said before, the PTZ camera that I have now is not mine, and at some point it is going to have to go back to its rightful owner. So in the run up to that, and I've talked about this a little bit too, I'm looking at a second PTZ camera, and so assuming a couple things go well in the next couple of days, hopefully tomorrow, I might add this little guy, which is another PTZ camera. It's very small and supposedly very good quality. The specs are decent. It's supposed to do well in low light. It's designed for use in meetings and stuff like that. So we'll see if things go. The way I would like. I will put the order in for it tomorrow sometime, and then pick it up at B&H when I'm up there on Wednesday. Instead of worrying about shipping, I'll just pick it up. It'll cost a couple dollars more in tax there than here, but not by a lot. And I'll just bring it home on the train. So and I think I might have put so it's a good price range. I think I put a link to it. I put a link to the manufacturer's site, I think, in the show notes below. If you look at it on B&H, the pricing on B&H is a couple $100 less for that model than what's listed on the manufacturer's site. And then if you actually put it in your cart, it's even less than that. So it's almost a no-brainer if buying another television camera is in any way could in any way be considered a no-brainer. So and who knows, I might get it and decide that, well, when I give the one that's up there now back, I'll get another one. So I'll still have two PTZs. We'll see how it goes. I've already got the controller for it, so I don't need to worry about that. I've just been too lazy to bring it upstairs and hook it up. And they also sell the same camera with a 20x and or a 30x lens. So that's that. And so, as I mentioned, I'm going to be up in New York on Wednesday for the National Association of Broadcasters and Audio Engineering Society show that's going on this week, or latter half of this week. And I'll see what kind of interesting gizmos and whatnot I see up there, both for video and audio. So anyway, that's it. That's all I got to talk about tonight. That was too much as it is, but I wanted to get through all these show notes, all the stuff that's going on. Other than that, I think that's, like I said, I think that's about it, unless anyone's got anything they want to talk about before I go. Anything that you want to see that I can try and break my stream my stream Ableton Live file with. If not, I will switch the video back over to, well, actually I'll realign a couple of things here so that I get the right things at the end of the show. And we'll actually go into the closing jam from there. So, let's see, I think if I hit that, it'll do what I want to do. Yeah, cool. And set that to there. Whoops. Yeah, see, that's not what I wanted to do. I knew I'd screw it up. One of the other things that I'm going to do, I spent a lot of time, I'll backtrack, run a couple other things. I'm going to change, I need to change, obviously, the way I do some of the stuff in the Stream Deck, because, you know, I thought I was just lining up the still store for the end of the show, and instead took it on air. Yeah, I need a control room staff. Or the other thing, yeah, you know, I need a director, TV director, and I'm going to redo the Stream Deck. I think I was talking with Donna about this the other night, last night I guess it was. I think I'm going to redo the Stream Deck, especially with the bigger switcher coming, so that the entire show is done as a series of macros instead of all these individual. The individual stuff will still be here, but the show itself is a series of macros that just basically calls the setups that I need and puts them on air when I push the button. That I think will reduce the number of errors. The other thing that will help too is having, you know, more available overlays. So yeah, more like scene controls, and so you know, really cool stuff here. Stream Deck can do MIDI through Companion. It's theoretically possible that it can listen to MIDI as well, I think, and so I could actually do parts of that in Ableton Live so that we're in the jam portion. The jam can do things like bring the visualizer in and out, or change the way the overlays work, because I do some weird things with overlays with the visualizer. So I can do those swaps. I can sequence those swaps while I'm also sequencing what the visualizer is doing, and so this really starts to get into the performance aspect of stuff that I wanted to be able to get to. Because then we start to get to a point where you know, it could be a live show, and a live show in a venue somewhere, not just live on YouTube, which is kind of sort of where I'd like it all to go eventually. I don't know how much, you know. Oh, that's the plug. That's what's making that noise. Plug for the headphone. I don't know how much I would take on the road with me if I were to do that. Packing up this whole studio to go out and do a show would be a nightmare, I think. But one of the goals has always been for there to be a traveling version of this. Did more videos of the kids and their phones. Audio enabling embedded video. Oh wow. Okay. Cool. We're getting awfully high tech, Jeff. Awfully high tech. Cool. All right. So anyway, I think that's going to do it. Unless there's anything else. No. That's cool. That's cool. I mean, it's all stuff that we've been talking about doing, and you know, talking about it here versus talking about it on Discord, wherever is fine. You know, we will we'll see what it does. Should be fun. So anyway, I'm going to make some music. Go back to that thing that I do for a while. So let's go there, there. Leave that alone. Okay, cool. So let me turn all this stuff back on and make some music and play for 10 or so minutes, and then I'll probably go away. So thanks for coming, Jeff. Thanks for coming, Wabbit. Whoever else was lurking around out there. I knew there were a few people out there here and there. So 07. Don't know what that means. Over this old man's head. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to push the button and do that. And then I'll start turning some of this stuff back on. I'm just going to push the buttons. Turn off my mic now.